Hey, it's ChadWarren.me. How you doing? Want to give you a promo of a podcast coming up tonight you're gonna love. It's Don't Fear the Future with host James Sanders and co-host Michael Connolly. Where are you going to find it? You're going to find it at blogtalkradio.com/infinite source. When's it on? 8 p.m. Central, Thursdays. What's the call in number? 319-527-6092. What's it about? Bringing you info to understand your world. I would say what Don't Fear the Future does the best, the reason why you should consider it in your intelligence gathering in order to make your decisions about what's going on in the world is because they offer something that used to be very common as part of the American fabric, which has become rather tattered and torn. And it's the understanding that if you are not united, it doesn't matter what your state of mind, body, and soul is. You've got to balance the individual with the total group. There's gonna be problems, like problems between the rich and the poor, problems between the left and the right, yada yada. So if you're tired of the love, hate, Trump worship derangement syndrome, if you want to stop a civil war from happening by calmly discussing issues while also going below the surface level where the real magic happens, then you're going to want to check out Don't Fear the Future because they are centrists. You see, it used to be that people understood that the reason why you debate anything or why you have political parties of Democrats and Republicans, right, is to take advantage of the wide breadth of human resources. You see, a republic is supposed to be making sure that the best lead the rest, and a democracy is supposed to gather the willpower of the most people to participate in governance. Okay? So, in the past, news networks and anchors would be speaking to a general public considering both sides of an issue and helping you to know what's going on in the world. But we don't have that anymore. We have Fox News, that's the Republican news network, and then all the other ones are the Democrat propaganda machine. And then there's all kinds of problems with alternative media that it is just off into some esoteric fantasy land that's not connected to real politics, right? Where most people are at in terms of thinking about their job and their benefits package and whether or not they're going to get laid off because technology is replacing them, and vaccines being forced on us in school when we know they cause cancer, and cell phones causing cancer according to the Chicago Tribune, according to the FCC, and it just nobody is going to take care of you. But you should check out Don't Fear the Future. Here is the notes that James has as to what the first of the 2 hours will be about. Okay, and again, I encourage you to call in 319-527-6092 so that you can participate in the conversation. Social media is like the slave pits of Rome, the arena where the Christians were slaughtered for the amusement of the emperor, you see. They create a whole class of poor people that beat the crap out of each other and then promote a few of those to leadership positions that are controlled. Sound familiar? InfoWars, social justice warriors. It's all fake, you know? So you got to jump up above that level. That's like a ghetto. It's an addiction. The ruling class is getting more out of the neutral tool of the internet and social media than we are getting out of it, you see. Trump was elected based on the largest psychographic data collection ever, which crafted the ads that you saw on Facebook. So the topic of the show is going to be about Greta and the global warming and the propaganda in children, and certain questions arise about, is this what this kid is choosing to do? Are we making our decisions, or are we subversively programmed to serve a purpose beyond this? So that's why you need to check out Don't Fear the Future, because you're going to get a balanced analysis of the news, and you're going to be networking with other people so that you take this process of being a thought leader, right, by taking the time to analyze what's going on, so that when you speak, you're not at that surface level. You see, at the surface level, people think things like, well, let's build a wall to keep these illegal immigrants out of America, which I agree with, because it should be about following the rules. Well, it's not fair to jump in line in front of these other people. But what if that wall is being built to keep us in? You see, who knows if that's true or not, but it's a deeper level analysis is necessary to even come up with good questions, let alone good answers. Because anything that's coming out of the mainstream media, and largely what is discussed and how it's discussed in the alternative media, is the bait, you see. Politicians, we all know, tell us what we want to hear, but do they really do that? You know what I mean? If you were to go, well, is the economy good or not? Well, that takes a lot of work to really figure that out. That's why you need these resources that are going to speed up your ability to digest what's going on, and then to not just watch it, but to like it, comment, and share. That's what social media is. Okay? And you need to jump up to joining these groups of who's in your wheelhouse. I hope that ChadWarren.me becomes in your wheelhouse. I hope you start to rely on me as a place that you can get a wide variety of information to look at to make a decision. I hope that you share with me what you think is valuable. Okay? So, in the first hour, James sees a troubling pattern developing within our political process: the use of large masses of children to push political agendas. From the David Hoggs of mass shooting narratives and children twerking at gay pride events, to the most recent Greta Thunberg of climate hysteria fame, there seems to be a pedestals such young persons of supposed virtue as a means to bludgeon the masses into capitulation to certain political ideologies. It, in basis, is the weaponization of our own children against us. It is the exploitation and abuse of children. Where does it come from? Who uses it? Who's behind promoting it? Is it really the children's own feelings, or is it the result of parental indoctrination? and parents living vicariously through their own children. If it is sincerely based within the minds of the children and not programmed by their parents, then is there a possibility they're being programmed through other means? And that goes for us, and that goes for Trump supporters as well. That's a big problem, as the left looks completely nuts. So then it causes Trump supporters to not question anything that they're doing. They don't have any. You need an opponent to play the game. Why is it? Oh no. Why are so many kids pushing for the erasure of our history through the removal of supposedly offensive things, including Civil War statues? I could go on forever. I live here in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Our flag is a variation of the Confederate flag, where the stars and bars are flipped into a diamond. It's the Diamond State. We've got Murfreesboro diamond mines. The Civil War was fought not because a bunch of people were racist and hated black people and wanted them to be slaves. There was all kinds of black folks in the Confederacy. You can go to Fort Smith, which this was the Wild West back then, the beginning of it, and was one of the last places to be modernized. And on the text. The Clint Eastwood movie Hang 'em High takes place in Fort Smith, and they have a parade every year where all these black folks who were descendants of these Confederate soldiers participates. Why did they participate? Because the South was fighting for representation equal to that of the cities on the coast, the East Coast, you see, because it was the same mentality that started the American Revolution. We were taxed without being represented. You got it? The people, the slaves, the farm workers, the farm owners who do all this hard work, right? We're being exploited. Surprise, surprise. Age-old story. So, that's what it was about. So it is very sad that people are mind-controlled when they can just look up history. What party gave America its first black representatives? The Republican Party, of which Abraham Lincoln was the president and a member of, you see. Who started the Civil Rights Movement? The Republican Party. Who were the first people that marched in protest to make sure that black people were treated equally with white people? Oh, I don't know. How about some young white Christian college students that if they hadn't led that, there wouldn't be a civil rights movement? Because obviously the people that have the power at some point have to help out the people that don't have the power for them to become equal. You see, you can't have it both ways. You can't hate on white people and then want everything that they have, you see. Go over to Africa and not participate in America at all. That's how that works. So, and who started the Ku Klux Klan? Oh, I don't know, the Democrats. So, both parties have got problems, and I've got all kinds of issues with the Trump people because he's not really conservative. He's not a Christian. He is not for sovereignty of nations. You cannot have sovereignty of nations because banks run nations, according to Alan Greenspan. The buck stops with him. These people are just pro wrestling puppets Anybody that votes is part of the problem. Harvard did a study, shows that no matter what the legislation is, it only has at best a 30% chance of becoming law. Because you're not equal to the people that have money. It's their government, right? Because you just participate in their consumer systems that are corrupt. Not until you're able to apply the same pressure to the haves as the have-nots do you really have an equal government. Why is it that we typically see this kind of behavior mostly from the liberal progressive left and rarely from the conservative right? Well, you see this dramatic bleeding heart liberal crap from the left, but you see a cowardice from the right, you see. They don't call into question, is Trump a conservative? Well, why is everything he does through an executive order? Is he for free speech? Because last time I checked, this black dentist got fired in Dallas who had a contract with the state. Why? Because he was boycotting the Israeli government. Why? Because they are killing Palestinians. They are not sharing that land, which was the plan. And supposedly these super victim Jews received Israel. Why? Because they were supposedly killed for being Jews by the Germans, except there's a whole bunch of Zionists that teamed up with Hitler to found Israel and killed their own people. And then these frickin' Trump supporters want to talk about George Soros and rounded up his own Jewish people. And then they don't understand. You're in that too, man. If you support Trump, he said that if you criticize the Israeli government, that it's anti-Semitic, that it's hate for Jewish people. Bullshit. Do you know how many Jewish people hate that the Rothschilds and Netanyahu, these just evil, warmongering, lying, cheating, stealing, billionaire assholes run their frickin' identity as a tribe? A lot of them. Like Edwin Black, who wrote the transfer agreement. You can find out about it. There's videos. He's on C-SPAN talking about it. Zionists teamed up with Hitler. So the right wing is totally screwed over, and they just act like it's not happening. Oh, there's no connection between Trump and Zionism. No, it doesn't matter that the Zionists put Trump's face on a temple shekel next to King Cyrus in celebration of opening their temple in Jerusalem to bring about this Masonic end times world court of the Sanhedrin running the world. Because people are going to beg for it, because it's just going to be so chaotic that people don't care what the truth is. They just want to go to the mall without being shot. It got Trump. Well, we're going to stop the gun violence by using big tech to find out who's deserves to have a gun. If they disagree with Israel running America, the most powerful lobby in Congress. Israel, who gets all of our aerospace and weapons systems and they're the kings of the whole big tech, because we give all that stuff to them for free that we as taxpayers pay for, that the companies, the engineers that create that stuff create, just so the Pentagon, when it uploads its data now, they've got their data in the cloud, and whether they choose Microsoft or Amazon, doesn't matter, because Israeli Mossad agents run both of those. So if you don't like Israel running America, you're anti-Semitic, and Trump supports all these laws, federal laws, about stopping that, looking at your social media to say you're a Nazi or whatever, you're a Jew hater, even though there's all these Jews that totally are you just conservatives act on their business and not focus on what's going on and how that impacts the rest of the world. So, don't mean to digress, but we all have blind spots, right? I get angry that I know what the truth is, but I don't know how to communicate that to people, and I don't know how to get people to take action. So that's what I'm learning about over at chadwarren.me. So help me out. Thank you very much. Check out Don't Fear the Future, blogtalkradio.com/infinite source tonight, 8 p.m. Please like, share, comment. I take all your criticism as long as it's specific. Don't just tell me to go blow goats. Why should I blow goats? Thank you.